Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ram Sushruth from Hyderabad. I'm an MD dermatologist and yesterday I have started a page called Residerma to help dermatology residents to cope up with the subject of dermatology. Thank you for your immense support. Please subscribe to this channel and share this video. My aim is just to give a brief introduction into the topic. That's please refer the textbooks and review articles for more information. My today's topic is on concise etiopathogenesis of cutaneous T-cell lymphomas. Cutaneous T-cell lymphomas are a type of non-Hodgkin's type of lymphomas. Non-Hodgkin's type of lymphomas includes a diverse set of systemic and primary cutaneous lymphomas. In again primary cutaneous lymphomas, there are cutaneous B-cell lymphomas and cutaneous T-cell lymphomas. We are now concerned about cutaneous T-cell lymphomas. T-cell lymphomas constitute 75% of the primary cutaneous lymphoma. So what does cutaneous T-cell lymphoma mean? Cutaneous T-cell lymphomas is a term given for a group of neoplasms which originate from skin-homing T cells. They have wide variation in the morphology, histology, prognosis and in the treatment aspects also. It is interesting to know that CTCLs make 13% of non-Hodgkin's type of lymphomas. Why do we need to know about these cutaneous T-cell lymphomas? It is important to know about them because the morphological appearance of both mycosis fungoides and Sézary syndrome are almost similar to eczemas, psoriasis, pigmented purpuric dermatosis, vitiligo, pityriasis lichenoides chronica and pleva. So it is very important to know about them to differentiate these conditions from the benign ones. Sometimes even histological appearance of MF might resemble a inflammatory dermatosis. So before going any further, please go through my references. Etiopathogenesis of cutaneous T-cell lymphomas is not clearly known, but there are multiple theories which would contribute the etiopathogenesis. So let's know about them in detail. So coming into the etiopathogenesis of CTCL, there are number of causes, among them infections. Infections are again of two types, bacterial and viral. Among the bacterial, Staphylococcus is the most important cause. The toxin, enterotoxin A, has been implicated to be one of the causes. Coming to the viruses, HIV, human T cell lymphoma virus, both strains 1 and 2, Epstein-Barr virus, cytomegalovirus have been implicated. All these either they colonize chronically or else they trigger inflammatory mediators like TNF alpha, interleukin 6 and interleukin 1, which might activate the lymphocytes to produce a chronic inflammatory response which might eventually turn into a malignancy. The second cause can be inflammation, which is chronic. Chronic inflammation like eczema, psoriasis, urticaria. People working in occupations like pottery and glass, atopic allergies, people who have exposure to herbicides. In all these individuals, there is chronic inflammatory process which is continuously going on, which might trigger a malignancy. Third theory in pathogenesis is toll-like receptors. Toll-like receptors with number 2, 4 and 9 have been implicated with CTCLs. They act as a bridge between the chronic inflammatory response and malignancy, which means that when there is chronic inflammatory response is going on, the keratinocyte starts producing these toll-like receptors which keep on activating the inflammatory cascade and which would eventually contribute to a malignancy. Now let's go little further. We have discussed about toll-like receptors now. Now let's discuss about T cell receptors. There are few T cell receptors which get upregulated in cases with CTCL. First one is CLA and CCR4. CLA means cutaneous T lymphocytic antigen. It is like an ID card for a T lymphocyte which has to enter into the skin. Without the CLA on the T lymphocyte, it cannot come into the skin itself. So these CLA and CCRs are excessively produced in the lesions with CTCL. This along with the CCR4, CCR10 is also upregulated. All these are majorly raised in the early stages of MF, that is mycosis fungoides. So there is more epidermotropism. As the disease progresses, the CCRs turn from CCR4 and CCR10 to CCR6 and CCR7. This is a stage where the patient is in condition of Sézary syndrome. Here, due to the presence of these receptors, the lymphocyte no longer confines itself to the skin but also comes into the circulation and go to the regional lymph nodes and gets metastasized. Now let's see how genetics play a role in the causation of CTCL. There are many gene dysregulations which are isolated, but none of them is inconclusive, and how they play a role in causation of CTCL is also not well established. Most of the aberrations which have been isolated are present on chromosome number 10. Okay, I want you to remember few pathways which are important. The first one is JAK-STAT3 pathway, which is a signaling pathway, and the second one is Notch pathway. The third one is a transcriptional factor which is called as TOX. Fourth one is Fas ligand, and fifth one is tumor suppressor genes. Okay, coming to JAK-STAT3, usually this has anti-tumor effect. This gene is responsible for production of interleukin 5, 10, 17, which play a major role in protection from malignancy. But as the JAK-STAT3 is downregulated, there are high chances for a malignant cell to survive the system. Coming to Notch pathway. Notch pathway is a signaling pathway which is most commonly seen in the cases of Sézary syndrome. Here what happens is this plays a major role in cell proliferation and differentiation. Again, so there is increased proliferation of the cells and this is upregulated into a transcriptional factor called TOX. This is present on CD4 lymphocytes. So when this is upregulated, there is a tumor suppressor gene called as RUNX3. This gets downregulated and there will be increased production of CD4 malignant lymphocytes, and this increased TOX has been correlated with thicker lesions of MF and poor prognosis. Fas ligand is one of the ligand which is related with the apoptosis. So when Fas ligand is downregulated, there is decreased apoptosis of malignant cells, and along with this there is dysregulation in C-flip, which is a intracellular apoptotic related protein. As there are aberrations in these proteins also, again there is decreased apoptosis. Coming to the tumor suppressor genes, the most commonest tumors are P53, P21, P14, 15, 16 are downregulated. So there is decreased immune surveillance and there will be again decreased apoptosis of malignant cells. Now let's discuss the concept of microRNAs. The profile of microRNA is distinct in CTCL individuals when compared with the normal individuals. So what is this microRNAs? These are non-coding RNAs which regulate gene expression. So there are few microRNAs which suggest us as poor prognostic factors of the disease. These are like MIR21 and 155. These suggest a poor prognostic factor and an aggressive form of disease. Whereas some microRNAs like MI22 regulate tumor suppressor genes. So this kind of microRNAs are downregulated, thereby tumor suppressor genes are downregulated, which will increase the chances of malignancy. Another microRNA like 16 and 22 are downregulated. MicroRNA 16 codes for cell senescence. So when it is downregulated, there will be downregulation of cell death of malignant cells, which causes uncontrolled proliferation. Here, microRNA number 22 acts as a tumor suppressor. So, when microRNA 22 is downregulated, it further promotes an uncontrolled proliferation of the malignant cells. Now, let's discuss the topic of cytokine expression. Cytokine expression changes with the disease process. In the stage of early MF, there will be Th1 type of immune response, that is the inflammatory mediators like interferon gamma, interleukin 2 and 12 are expressed more. As the disease progresses to the tumor stage, the interleukin 12 decreases. The interleukin 12 actually has an anti-tumor activity, and by the time the disease reaches to the stage of tumor stage of MF and Sézary syndrome, the immune response is Th2 type. There is increased expression of interleukin 4, interleukin 5, 10 and 13. Interleukin 4 levels correlate with eosinophilia, erythroderma and increased bacterial colonization, whereas interleukin 10 suppresses the immune system. It doesn't allow maturity of dendritic cells, so there will be increased immature dendritic cells, so the immune surveillance is lost.